Invictus, my kings, and welcome to Italia, gentlemen. Yes, today we're starting another campaign playing in Napoleon Total War using DarthMod, playing as the Italian state, and the goal of this campaign is to conquer, well, as much of the Roman Empire as is possible within the bounds of Napoleon Total War. So, obviously, the entirety of the Italian peninsula. We conquer France, Spain, some of Austria, some of Greece. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. But that's the goal for this campaign now. For this first part one, what we are doing right now, right here, I think that we're gonna capture Rome, obviously, and quite possibly Naples. That's basically what I'm aiming for. Those are the bounds, and quite possibly Palermo as well. So Rome, Naples, Palermo is on today's agenda. Yep. And here we are with a striking distance of Rome. Let's declare war. They'll be joined by the Kingdom of Naples. Doesn't matter, we'll crush them as well. And let's quick save and let's get to the battlefield. Yes. Alright, here we are on the battlefield. Can zoom out as much as you can in Empire Total War, surprisingly enough. But yeah, let's deploy our guys in a line. Obviously cavalry on the flanks, nothing too unusual about this setup. General in the middle. And since this is an offensive battle, or it's at least we are the attacking side, we should probably march forward at least a little bit. Let's see what the enemy's got going. They've got some line infantry, obviously. They do have some cavalry, which we don't have, unfortunately. They do, however, have militia garrison units, and we should be able to just completely annihilate those. At least, in my estimation, we should be able. The enemy is actually rushing towards us quite fast, so let's just deploy like so. No need for any complicated maneuvers. It's a little bit strange that they decided not to deploy inside the city to begin with. But hey, I'm not. That's their battle strategy, not mine. They are free to do as they wish. Okay, so they're deploying in interesting lines. Moving around, maybe this is the time to move forward, since they'll be distracted. Yes, let's give it a try. Good old college try. And let's swing our cavalry like so. And yep, the battle is beginning. Very much. Yep, there we go. We are delivering some nice volleys upon the enemy. While they do not return fire yet, so yeah, as I say, it should be a victory. However, we'll see how things develop. This is always the important thing to consider whenever dealing with any total war game. You have to sort of play to your RNG, so to say. However, here I can see the enemy's general staff, so we should just go for them and kill them. It's always good to debuff the enemy morale. It's always a benefit, especially in Napoleon Total War, where morale plays such an important role. But the thing that I really like about Napoleon are the morale bars, the morale health bar, or whatever you want to call it. It's not a health bar, it's a morale bar, as opposed to later Total Wars, which actually have health bars. But the morale bar essentially signifies what kind of morale your unit has when you move around with it, if it enters combat, if it's getting outflanked. And it's very useful both in single player and in multiplayer, both for you and your opponent, obviously. But it's better than to have to click on a unit and see whether it's wavering or whether it's actually doing fine. This morale bar thing, I wish it returned in some capacity, but I haven't seen it yet in any sort of total. At least we don't. I might be wrong about this, I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think we see the morale bar in any sort of Total War apart from Napoleon Total War. At least I don't think we see it in any other one. Let's see if they form square, and they did not. So the cavalry charge should go through, and they should be broken. Easy. See, morale in this game is plays a much more important part than in, for example, Empire. In Empire Total War, you do see quite a lot of random wavering from your units, but here you can actually see the morale bar and you actually know what the hell is going on. It's always very much appreciated. And here we go, the hussars of the enemy tried to pull a cheeky charge, but it didn't quite work out for them too well. And yeah, let's try again a envelopment. It works in Empire, it works in Napoleon. The envelopment strategy works every single time. 50% of the time it works every time. Here you can see the enemy. Oh, here we go. The enemy is actually bringing reinforcements. They did actually manage to somehow recruit a whole lot more troops than I did, even though I was recruiting every turn. But that's the AI cheats for you. Even though this is on medium difficulty, the AI cheats nevertheless. And yeah, shaken, wavering. The enemy should be dealt with very quickly here. Although their artillery is being set up, even though it's being set up very slowly, they still are being set up, and I'm sort of worried about that. Maybe they'll target some of my cavalry, or possibly my general's bodyguard. That would be ugly. That would be very ugly if they targeted my general. Well, hopefully they don't do that. But as you can see, the enemy is doing all kinds of strange maneuvers, and it's not working out for them too well. The Pope might be a good religious leader, but a good military leader he is not. No, definitely not. We are crushing them very swiftly, very decisively. Although they still, well, they actually couldn't probably pull a comeback. At this moment, it's basically over. Once we kill their general, if we kill their general, we didn't kill their general. But as you can see in Napoleon, as you saw a few seconds ago, their whole army was routing, but then they came back. It's in Napoleon Total War, the morale is very important to keep an eye on morale, because units can rout very quickly, but they can come back from routing very quickly as well. So it's important to keep these things in mind when you play Napoleon Total War, as opposed to something like Rome 2, where usually if a unit retreats, it very rarely comes back from routing. It sort of stays on the retreat, if you know what I mean. And these militia garrison, let's see how they look. They look kind of swaggy, not gonna lie. They do have a bit of a style to them. I love the hats. I love these styles of hats. Unfortunately, our units have like the standard Napoleonic French style cap, which is cool as well, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't have the same oomph as the what would you even call it, the tricorn hat of the Italians that we're facing right now, the Papal States. Even though you would think, well, technically the Italian state was a state set up by the French after their conquest in Italy, so we are sort of playing a bit of an Italian or a French puppet state at this point, aren't we? Even though we aren't a republic at all, we are a kingdom. But still, very interesting. As you can see the edge of the map, in Napoleon DarthMod you see such huge battles, taking span over the entirety of the map, or at least half the map is covered. And yeah, lots of let me quickly, no, didn't manage to dodge. I lost 4 horses. 4 horses? Looks like 2 or 3, yeah. This battle is dragging on a little bit too long, doesn't it? And there we go. After a bit of a small advancement, it's a victory. Alright, pretty decent fight. We lost 674. We killed something shy of 6,000. So yeah, Rome is captured. It is ours, and because in this game we have auto replenishment, there's no need for us to replenish our troops manually. As you can see, it's all fine and dandy. Gonna recruit some more infantry, obviously, and yeah, Rome is ours. Next stop is Naples. All right, here we go. Time to push on. And I think if I go like this with the secondary army, then I attack like so with the main army, I think they should come in for reinforcements. Yes, they do. They very much do come in as reinforcements. I think I could actually auto-resolve this one. Let's just throw down a cheeky save, and yeah, let's auto-resolve. We managed to lose one unit, but doesn't really matter. Let's auto-resolve again. Victory, very nice. Peacefully occupy. And yeah, it's going to take a while to replenish, but yep, next up is Palermo, Sicily. Alright, here we are ready to cross over into the Kingdom of Sicily. And this is going to be quite interesting, because if you look at their allies, it's Austria, Russia, Sweden, United Kingdom. Now, I'm not entirely sure if how that is going to go, but we could try some tactics. We could offer the Austrians 5k to break their alliance with the Sicilians. That went well, and we could also try the Russians break alliances, Kingdom of Sicily, because I'm not too worried about the others, but Russia and Austria could do some yeah, they could be a bit annoying, but there we go. So Kingdom of Sicily now, 2 alliances down, only Britain and Sweden. Those two don't matter as much, so let's go declare war. And Britain didn't even join them, so only Sweden. This should be a walk in the park. This should be a walk in the park. Let's go. Hopefully these guys come in as reinforcements. They don't. They don't, but it's another opportunity for another battle, so let's get to it. Alright, here we are once more on the battlefield, and this time the enemy is actually deploying inside the city, which is, well, it's good for them, isn't it? Good for them that they're so thoughtful that and strategically minded that they actually decided to use use their buildings to their advantage, which, well, that's amazing, isn't it? And here we are. Once this battle is over, almost all of Italy is going to be ours. So let's hurry up and deal with them. What kind of artillery do they have? They have 6-pounders. In the early game, basically everyone has 6-pounders. I should get on to actually recruiting some sort of artillery pretty soon. I think after this this little Italian excursion that unification that we have going on right now, I think what I'm going to do is actually sit back a little bit and build up the peninsula and actually reform my army so they do actually have some sort of artillery support contingent within them. Because in Napoleon Total War, artillery is king. It's insanely strong. It's basically the dominant thing on the battlefield is artillery. If you don't have any artillery, you're basically a goner. And because of that, I think I would be well advised to actually go ahead and do something with artillery. Because in the early game, these sort of infantry block tactics are fine and dandy. They work relatively well. But once we start going up against guard units and the French and all of that, this is gonna be a nightmare. So I better prepare and better make some artillery forces on the ready, because we're definitely going to need it. But luckily for us, the Sicilians are absolutely abysmal when it comes to keeping track of their artillery, and they are getting hammered, even though they aren't losing any men. It's been I don't know how many years, and still I don't know how these artillery units function when they're mounted. Do they have like armor, or are they somehow shielded, or do they have a certain number of hit points, or how does it work? Because if you just fire at them, it does basically nothing. It does basically less than nothing. They so often don't get damaged by direct infantry fire, and I don't know, it's just something weird that I've noticed over the years. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but here we go. Hussars against our hussars. However, our hussars have chevrons, and for some reason my hussars aren't activating. Yeah, it's Warscape engine for you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Usually it does work, but sometimes it just doesn't work, and this was one of those times. Their units look so much cooler compared to our units. Even their line infantry, look at that. Their hats look amazing. So much more cooler than our infantry does, but oh well. Can't win everyone. Can't win all of them. Can't win everyone. But somehow we've actually managed to gain a hill advantage in this combat, in this little firefight that we are having right now. For some reason the Sicilians retreated into the lowlands over here. So we do have a little bit of a hill advantage in this fight, which actually counts for something in Napoleon Total War. You would think it doesn't really do anything, but in Napoleon it's quite a refined game, and the game actually takes into account like elevation and stuff like that. Your units just seem to work a tiny bit better if they're on the high ground compared to the low ground. I don't know how it works, why it works, or whatever, but it just works. So yeah, that's basically it. It just works. In the words of a certain famous chess player, it just works. And here we go, the enemy's actually pulling off some major flanking maneuvers over here on my end. The general is under attack, we can't allow that. Let's retreat with him, and let's continuing on. These guys have such low morale. If I just charge them, then I think we would be able to... Oh, one of our units is actually routing. See, that would have been more of an important comment than whatever. But as you can see, you know, morale in this game, it's finicky. It's not well, it's actually well thought out. You know, the morale plays an insanely important role in. Did they form square? Is this supposed to be a square formation? I think it might be. So let's retreat from that. But they broke and they're running anyway, so nice. Nice. Our units came back from routing. Looks like we're winning the fight, just by standing around doing nothing. Usually the case in Napoleon and Empire, if you manage to stand around on the correct angle, you will somehow win. You'll somehow win if you stand around at the correct angle. Which, standing around at the correct angle is a very in-depth strategy which you would not understand. Your simple mind just doesn't comprehend. But, yeah, we're managing to beat them, and that's all there's to it. There we go, we killed their general right over here. So I think their defeat is in short order. The last unit still holding out is the general staff, I guess. And oh, they actually have a unit over here. Okay, totally missed that one. Should pay more attention to the minimap, honestly. But here we go. We're fighting it out with the general staff. That unit actually managed to run away very quickly. Looks like the one volley was all it took. And here we are, some units still back from fighting, still they march up, form square, don't do anything, and then rout. Very interesting. That's a fine strategy if you ask me. But here we go, let's try a little bit of Napoleonic hammer and anvil, and there we go, it's a victory. There we go, we lost 1,400 units and we killed a little over 5k, peacefully occupy, and there we go, the entirety of Italy is ours. Yeah, the entirety of the Italian peninsula is ours. Apart from, well, we still have Sardinia and Corsica, which we'll get to later. Who is Corsica? Like to nobody. I think I've just found our next target. But yeah, anyway, thanks Kings for watching, and I'll see you next time.